What does the Bible say about amulets? If you're curious about what the Bible has to say about amulets, you're about to uncover some interesting and important insights. Let's start by understanding what amulets are and how they were used in ancient times. An amulet is essentially any object worn or carried to protect against evil, disease, or other dangers. In the Bible, the attitude towards amulets is quite clear, especially when it comes to those associated with pagan practices. In the Old Testament, the Israelites often adopted superstitions from the surrounding pagan cultures, including the use of amulets and magic charms. The Bible warns against these practices, as seen in Isaiah 2 verse 6, where it says, "They are full of superstitions from the east. They practice divination like the Philistines and clasp hands with pagans." This passage highlights God's disapproval of such practices. The Bible also mentions specific instances where amulets were condemned. For example, in Isaiah 3:18-20, it lists various ornaments and amulets that the Lord will take away, indicating a strong disapproval of these items. Additionally, in Ezekiel 13:18-20, God speaks against the women who wore magic charms on their wrists and made veils to ensnare people, showing that these practices were seen as deceitful and harmful. The key point here is that the Bible distinguishes between amulets used in pagan worship and those that might be used by God's people. However, even among God's people, the Bible advises against trusting in material objects for protection. Instead, it encourages trust in God Himself. As Psalm 31:6 says, "I have hated those who regard useless idols, but I trust in the Lord." There is an interesting exception, though. In some cases, amulets with scriptural inscriptions were used, particularly in early Christian and Jewish contexts. For instance, ancient amulets from Coptic Egypt contained incipits, or opening phrases, of biblical passages like Psalm 91 or the Lord's Prayer. These were believed to offer protection, but were still distinct from pagan amulets because they invoked God's name in Scripture. In summary, the Bible generally views amulets associated with pagan practices as something to be avoided. However, when amulets are used with scriptural inscriptions and a focus on God's protection, they are seen in a different light. The core message remains: trust in God, not in material objects, for true protection and safety.